Symbols are powerful. They can encapsulate an entire history, a legacy, or a set of values in a single, simple image. And when you think of Audi, what comes to mind? Those four interlocking rings, of course. They are instantly recognizable, sleek, and elegant. But they also carry a story that stretches back nearly a century. A story that weaves together ambition, adversity, and a secretive alliance that shaped the future of the automotive industry. Today, we're going to unravel that story. We'll explore how these rings came to represent not just a brand, but a pact, an agreement that transcended the ordinary business world. It's a tale of survival, of innovation, and of a vision that looked far beyond the horizon of what was possible. So sit back, relax, and let's journey back in time to the origins of the four rings. The year was 1932, and the world was in turmoil. The Great Depression had swept across the globe, leaving no industry untouched. In Germany, the automotive sector was particularly hard hit. Hundreds of small car manufacturers were struggling to stay afloat in a market that was rapidly shrinking. Competition was fierce, and the economic pressures were immense. It was a time of reckoning. Only the strong or the smart would survive. Let's start by introducing the four key players in our story: Audi, DKW, Horch, and Wanderer. Each of these companies was unique, with its own strengths, its own legacy, and its own challenges. But they all had one thing in common: the understanding that the status quo was no longer sustainable. Audi, the first of our quartet, was born from the vision of a man named August Horch. Now, August was no ordinary entrepreneur. He was a pioneer, a visionary who saw the potential of the automobile long before many of his contemporaries. But after a bitter split from his original company, which also bore his name, Horch, he was forced to start over. And so, in 1909, he founded a new company, but this time he couldn't use his own name. The legal battles that ensued forced him to get creative. He chose the Latin translation of his name. Horch became Audi, meaning to listen. And in that choice, we see the first glimmer of the innovation and adaptability that would come to define Audi's future. But even a visionary like Horch couldn't foresee the challenges that lay ahead. Audi, though respected, was facing the same economic pressures as the rest of the industry. They needed a way to secure their future, a way to ensure that they wouldn't just survive but thrive in the years to come. Then there was DKW, short for Dampfkraftwagen, which loosely translates to steam-driven vehicle. Quite a name, isn't it? But DKW's origins are even more unusual. It started as a manufacturer of steam fittings, of all things, before moving into the world of motorcycles and, eventually, cars. DKW had a knack for producing small, affordable vehicles that were incredibly popular with the general public. Their cars were simple, reliable, and most importantly, cheap, a perfect formula for the economically stressed times of the 1930s. But popularity alone wasn't enough. DKW knew that to survive in a shrinking market, they needed something more, something that would set them apart from the dozens of other manufacturers scrambling for a foothold. They needed an alliance. Horch, our third protagonist, was a company with a very different pedigree. Founded by August Horch before his departure, it had become a symbol of luxury and prestige. Horch cars were the epitome of elegance, designed for the elite and built with meticulous attention to detail. But luxury can be a double-edged sword, especially during an economic downturn. The very qualities that made Horch cars desirable, expensive materials, intricate craftsmanship, also made them vulnerable in a market where affordability was becoming increasingly important. Horch needed to find a way to maintain its status while adapting to the new economic realities. And finally, we have Wanderer, a company with a rich history that began with the production of bicycles and motorcycles before moving into automobiles. Wanderer was known for its reliable, well-built vehicles that appealed to the middle class. They weren't flashy, but they were dependable, a quality that customers appreciated in uncertain times. But like the others, Wanderer was feeling the strain of the economic climate. They too recognized that standing alone in such a volatile environment was not sustainable. So here we have four companies, each facing its own set of challenges, each with its own distinct identity. But despite their differences, they shared a common realization. The only way forward was together. But merging for companies, each with its own history, culture, and market position, was no small feat. It required not just business acumen, but also a vision, one that could see beyond the immediate challenges to the potential of a unified future. And so, in 1932, these four companies came together to form the Auto Union. It was an unprecedented move, one that brought together the strengths of each company under a single banner. But this wasn't just a merger of convenience. Far from it. There was something almost mystical about this union, something that suggested it was more than just a business arrangement. It was a pact, an agreement forged in the fires of adversity, with the understanding that together, they were stronger than they could ever be alone. To symbolize this new union, they chose an emblem, 4 rings, interlocked, each representing one of the companies. The rings were a powerful symbol, representing unity, strength, and continuity. But there's more to it than that. Rings are circles, after all, with no beginning and no end. They represent something eternal, unbreakable. And in this case, they also represented the binding nature of the agreement between these 4 companies. An agreement that was as much about trust and shared vision as it was about business. But here's where the story takes an even more intriguing turn. The rings, as simple as they appear, also carry a deeper, more hidden meaning. Some say they represent a secret pact, a quiet understanding among the founders of these companies, not just to survive the immediate crisis, but to dominate the future of the automotive industry. A pact that would bind them together through wars, economic downturns, and the rise and fall of empires. Imagine, if you will, those 4 founders sitting together in a dimly lit room, the weight of the world pressing down on their shoulders. They knew that what they were about to do would change the course of history, not just for their companies, but for the entire industry. They shook hands over this agreement, sealing a silent vow to push the boundaries of what was possible in automotive engineering. And as they signed their names, those 4 rings became more than just a logo. They became a mark of destiny. The years that followed were a testament to the power of this union. The Auto Union didn't just survive, it thrived. Together, these companies were able to pool their resources, share their expertise, and create vehicles that were greater than the sum of their parts. The 4 rings became a symbol of resilience, of innovation, and of a legacy that would stand the test of time. But even as the Auto Union grew in strength, the world around it was changing. The political landscape in Germany was shifting, and with it, the fortunes of the automotive industry. The rise of the Nazi regime brought new challenges and new opportunities. The Auto Union, like many other companies at the time, found itself navigating a complex and often dangerous environment. But through it all, the 4 rings remained a constant, a symbol of the unbreakable bond between these 4 companies. After World War II, the Auto Union was forced to rebuild, both literally and figuratively. The war had taken a heavy toll, and the company's factories were in ruins. But the spirit of the 4 rings endured. The company reestablished itself in Ingolstadt, in what would become West Germany, and began the long, difficult process of rebuilding. It was a time of great uncertainty, but also of great opportunity. The Auto Union, with its deep well of expertise and its strong brand identity, was able to adapt to the new post-war realities and lay the foundation for the modern Audi we know today. And so, those 4 rings, which began as a symbol of unity in the face of economic hardship, have become much more than that. They are a symbol of resilience, of innovation, and of a legacy that has endured for nearly a century. When you see those rings on an Audi today, you're not just looking at a logo, you're looking at a piece of history. A history that speaks of ambition, of adversity overcome, and of a vision that has stood the test of time. But the story of the 4 rings is not just a tale of the past. It's also a story of the future, because even today, Audi continues to push the boundaries of what is possible in automotive engineering. The spirit of innovation that brought these four companies together in 1932 is still very much alive. It's in every car they build, in every technological breakthrough they achieve, and in every new challenge they take on. So the next time you see an Audi, remember the story of the four rings. Remember the ambition, the ingenuity, and the quiet strength that they represent. Because sometimes the most powerful stories are hidden in the simplest symbols. And in those four rings, you can see a reflection of a legacy that continues to shape the world of automobiles, even today. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the heart of Audi's history. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more tales of innovation, mystery, and legacy from the world of automobiles. Until next time, drive safe and keep your eyes on the road ahead, because you never know what stories lie just around the corner.